Sea Breeze FM is calling. Sea Breeze FM is calling. Our format mix will fill ya. We promise we will bring ya all the best around the clock, 24/7. Ha ha ha! Sea Breeze FM is calling. Come on over, tune on in. You don't know what you're missing. Feel the breeze, sit back, relax. Love and music to the max. Sea Breeze FM is calling. Check us out. Listen to the beats. Crank it up, move your feet. Can you feel the heat? Sea Breeze FM is calling. Sea Breeze FM is calling. Calling to you. Sea Breeze FM is calling.
New Zealand and America. It's time for your international connection with Stu in Victoria. American journalist Victoria Gaither brings you the latest in news and entertainment. Plus, you never know what Stu will say on air. So let's get started or listen live at seabreezefm.com. Stu, Victoria.
Well, good morning, New Zealand. Nice to have your company this morning here on Seabreeze 88 FM. And, nice fine morning now. The sun's shining brilliantly here at Himatangi. Over in Washington, I believe it is very, very hot. Someone has been complaining like anything this morning about how hot it was. And I can give you half a guess as to who that was. That's right, you can hear it giggling in the background. Absolutely guilty. Thoroughly guilty. Done nothing but complain about how hot the weather was. 2 months ago, she was moaning because it was cold. Now it's hot. She's moaning still. What does it take to turn that moaning switch off? Good morning. Afternoon.
Well, good morning and good afternoon to all of our friends that are listening in America and in other parts of the world. I know that's typical Americans. When it comes to weather, Stu, we complain when it's too cold, we're not happy, and when it's too hot, we're not happy. So, unfortunately, that's how we are. But for those of you that are joining us, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day, no matter what time zone you are in, to listen to International Connection. This is a news and entertainment show that airs weekly on seabreezefm.com. We provide you with news of the day. And Stu and I always try to do a story that has a connection between New Zealand and America, thus our international connection. Stu, I've got to tell you, the connection between New Zealand and America is easy this week because New Zealand Prime Minister John Key has arrived in America. Mr. Key is currently in New York City for the first leg of his trip, laying a wreath at the 9/11 Memorial, and then spending much of his day at the United Nations pushing for a seat on the UN Security Council. Now, this afternoon, the Prime Minister got sick, saying he felt like he needed to vomit, but he apparently seems to be okay as of right now. On Saturday, Prime Minister John Key will join President Obama at the White House for a formal visit and round of talks. He will also meet with U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel at the Pentagon. And during his trip to America, Key has 50 engagements. Stu, I wasn't surprised as I've been following his trip that he got a little sick in New York City today, because getting back to the weather, it's 91 degrees in America and on the East Coast, and I'm pretty sure the humidity factor is very high as well. So that didn't surprise me if he's walking around New York taking care of business there today, going to all of these different locations, visiting places and events, that he would get sick. But anyway, I am very happy that your Prime Minister is okay and doing a little bit better. So Prime Minister John Key's visit to the White House comes at a time when President Obama is sending U.S. troops to the Iraqi embassy, and the aircraft carrier George H.W. Bush and 5 other warships are in the Persian Gulf. More than 500 Marines and dozens of helicopters are on standby in the region. This comes after Islamic militants continue to push towards Iraq in an effort to overtake cities and towns in that region. It is likely that since John Key is in Washington during this time, that he and Mr. Obama will discuss the situation in Iraq, although asked today in New York City by a reporter, Mr. Key says New Zealand isn't looking for a fight and will not deploy troops to Iraq. There has been heavy fighting between ISIS militants and Iraqi security forces. President Obama is hoping to secure the U.S. Embassy to protect our citizens and sending troops in, having them on standby. I was thinking this morning when I was sort of following all this, I remember many, many years ago, I think I was a television news anchor in the Midwest when all of the Iraqi war and situation was going on, and I never thought that I would be here again discussing this whole Iraqi situation again, and I think many people in America are feeling the exact same way, because all the time and effort that we put into Iraq many, many years ago seems like it's not really paying off right now. There seems to be more issues, and it's more volatile in the region than ever before because of the Sunnis.
Yeah. Yep, I know what you mean. And, of course, the opposition to America on who they're trying to defend or who they're trying to stop from offending are getting stronger, getting more well-equipped and more knowledge, more technology. It just goes on. It will.
Yep, it is.
And it'll keep on going too. I don't think it'll ever stop. And, it's, war has been happening throughout the world for how many decades? Hundreds and hundreds of years, isn't it? Way back from Julius Caesar's days. And it's still, all right, things have got a bit more modern. We're not on chariots now, but I'll tell you what,
exactly.
It'll do the circle, but it's going to blow everything else up. So we will be back to chariots.
Exactly. Sooner or later, before we know it. But we're going to continue to follow Prime Minister John Key's trip here to America. And again, he'll be at the White House for a formal visit this Saturday with President Obama. Now, meanwhile, we're also following some breaking news from the Pentagon. Just hours ago, the Pentagon says U.S. forces have captured a militant leader involved in the attack on the U.S. compound in Benghazi and Libya. So, Stu, there's so much international news today. My little fingers have just been cramping so much just trying to type and get all of this information in. The National Guard is on standby in Nebraska as the governor of that state declares a state of emergency over tornadoes. A small town in Nebraska is picking up after twin tornadoes came through, destroying much of their downtown and homes. 2 people died and 16 others are injured. One of the deaths was a 5-year-old. The severe weather destroyed a fire station, 50 homes, and as much as 3/4 of an entire town is gone. That is a lot. Social media has come to the rescue of a 3-year-old girl who was told to leave a Mississippi KFC restaurant. The 3-year-old girl named Victoria, badly scarred and wearing an eye patch because of a pit bull attack, was apparently asked to leave the KFC because her appearance upset other customers. After social media users called for a boycott of the restaurant, an apology from the chain came quickly, and the company said it will donate the $30,000 to assist Victoria's medical bills. When the little girl was asked to leave, she cried all the way home. Victoria was mauled by a pit bull in April and is still recovering from her attacks. And Stu, I first saw that story because you posted that story on your Seabreeze fan page, and I hadn't really followed that story, but it broke my heart when I saw it on your fan page that this kid and her family was asked to leave the KFC, and I thought, shame on those people for even thinking something like that.
Absolutely damn disgusting. And for KFC, who is one of the oldest of the takeaway projects throughout the planet, I thought it was very shameful, to be quite honest. And I hope, all right, KFC have put, $30,000 in towards this girl's rebuild of her face and everything. I hope people still boycott them, but by God, they deserve to be really hit hard, don't they? Fancy having a staff with those sort of morals. It's shocking.
Exactly.
It's shocking.
And that's what I was thinking. The same thing. I mean, and a part of the representative top there at KFC said, "Hey, this isn't how we run our company. This isn't how, we expect our employees to conduct themselves. This is sort of an isolated incident at this particular KFC there in Mississippi. But you're right. I mean, the manager who runs that store had to have hired these people. You're right. The morals of the people that's working in that store are disgusting.
The manager should have walked into that branch. The general manager of KFC should have walked into that branch, taken the manager of the shop and all the staff and said, goodbye, go, bugger off. We don't need you people here working for us.
Yeah. No, I definitely have to agree with you on that. I mean, I don't care how much money, and again, they're donating $30,000 to help this little girl reconstruct her face that was attacked by a pit bull. I don't care how much money you put to that. Money is not going to solve that. An apology is not going to solve that. Because I feel like, the girl is, she'll, not only is she scarred from the pit bull attack, but she'll remember that for a very, very long time. And I was told, and reading some of the local reports of it down there in Mississippi, that, people were laughing at her, sort of pointing at her and laughing at her face. So she'll remember that for a very, very long time.
Yeah. And what's $30,000 to KFC? It is absolutely nothing. It'll be tax deductible. Everybody's getting sucked in thinking, KFC are giving them $30,000 for this little girl's face reconstruction. What a lot of rubbish. It's all tax deductible, It's costing KFC nothing. I tell you that now. It's costing them nothing.
So you think a part of why they're doing that is for public relations and a PR to kind of come out of this to look good?
To put the roses and petals around the grave. That's all they're doing.
Right.
I hope they die.
Well, it will be interesting to see, like you said, if people will still boycott that particular KFC. So we'll follow that, and, if we come across it, certainly we'll keep you up to date on that story. A Florida mother is on the run with her child because she does not want to vaccinate the little girl. The state of Florida is charging the mother with kidnapping her daughter and taking the girl away from her father. The mother left a note when the father was supposed to pick her up, saying she would not let the judge tell her how to raise her daughter and brainwash her daughter, so they are leaving. No word yet on this woman's whereabouts. The FBI has also gotten involved in that case. And so the reason why I thought that story was important was because there are many, many cases in America, and a lot of them end up in court, where the government or the state or the city says, hey, you've got to vaccinate your child in order for your child to come to school, preschool with the other kids. But there are so many parents in America who don't believe in vaccine and believe that vaccine, does more harm to their children than good. So they end up not vaccinating their children. And, the states and the government are saying, fine, you can do that, but you're not going to bring your kid here to put other kids at risk if, in fact, you're not going to vaccinate your child. So your only option is to homeschool. So a lot of parents will homeschool their kids if they can, just because they don't want to vaccinate their kids. So I'm always interested in that because I've covered many stories like that before to see what's going to happen to this particular mother when the FBI or the law actually catches up with her.
Easy problem solved. Have non-vaccinated schools.
Non-vaccinated schools. That's interesting.
Yep. Simple. I know it's this vaccination thing, and people who don't want to vaccinate, and that, a lot of that comes into religion. It's not in their beliefs and things like that.
Right.
So, hey, you can't, go against that. That's a person's belief. That's, freedom of speech and everything else. But yeah, non-vaccinated schools. Hell, what more do you need?
I would love to. I guess it would be interesting to see how that would work and how it would be paid for. But yeah, I mean that's an option. Just put all the kids in there whose parents don't want them vaccinated in the same school and see what happens. I don't know. I don't know if it would be that many kids though. I don't know. Yeah, that would be interesting to find that out. Interesting. Good point there. I'm actually liking the way you're thinking this morning. You've got your thinking cap on this morning, Stu Fred.
Don't get smart.
So when we come back, why General Motors is recalling more cars. We're going to have that in a moment.
You're on Seabreeze, and we're streaming live around the planet, and the time now is 9:17 here in New Zealand, 5:17 in Washington, D.C., Eastern time over there, of course, drive time over there. Good music coming your way this morning. To kick it off, Lady Antebellum.
Hi, I'm radio announcer Gwen Redding from 91.9 FM WCLK, and I love listening to Stu and Victoria on Sea Breeze.